Guys, New Hampshire was amazing for comic book hunting. I went to 6 total shops with my best friend Josh and his brother Jay, and it was a ton of fun. But guys, stick around to the end of the video and I'll give you guys a few more details on my amazing trip to New Hampshire. But if you guys want to find out how to enter this week's giveaway, again, make sure you guys stick around to the end of the video. And last but not least, guys, don't forget to join the Discord. Link down in the description below. Join it. It's an awesome community of people just talking about comic books almost every single day. All right, guys, let's go ahead and dive into today's video. What is going on, comic book fans? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Wednesday pull list, which is your hype video for New Comic Book Day, which is March 20th of 2024, which is tomorrow of all days. And yeah, it's gonna be so much fun. And guys, I have a pretty big pull list this week. I do have some books on the chopping block. There are lots of cover lever picks, so let's not waste any more time. You guys know what this video is, so let's go ahead and check out my pull list. Now, as you guys can see, like I said in the intro, this is a pretty big pull list. But you guys obviously can't see what those books are, so let me go ahead and throw them up on screen right now. There are 19 total books on my pull list, but to put that into context for all the books that are coming out today, there are 96 total comics that are available to everyone to pick up. 96. But I am picking up about 1/5 of that, which is still pretty large. But guys, on my pull list, there are 2 new number 1s, there are 7 DC books, 3 Marvel books, and 9 indies. And I read all the previous issues to the books that you see on screen right now, so all these books can make it on the top 3 list. Alright guys, that is it for my pull list. Let's go ahead and find out what books are on the chopping block this week. Alright guys, sadly there are 2 books on the chopping block this week, and when books hit the chopping block, that means I'm no longer enjoying the story, and I no longer want to be spending money picking up this book every single month. And the first book to hit the chopping block this week is Spider-Boy. I was really hoping this series was going to latch on to me and I was going to really enjoy it, but after reading issue number 4, yeah, I'm no longer going to be pre-ordering this book. I do have 2 more issues on pre-order. I have issue number 5, 6, and 7, because I've already pre-ordered 7. So I had 3 more issues to get, and if the story somehow gets a lot better, I'll just add this book back onto the pull list if it does get better. But right now, it's not a story for me. But guys, the other book that's on the chopping block this week is Titans. Now, the sad thing about this is that I really enjoy Tom Taylor's writing, but the story that's happening in this book is just not engaging to me at all. Like, at all. And if you guys read issue number 8, you will know that all of a sudden Raven is evil again. Why? Figure out something new. Do not make a character that's been evil and good and evil and good and doing this battle for years just do that same recycled story again. Maybe he'll make it fresh. And just like Spider-Boy, I do have 3 issues that I still pre-ordered, so if this story somehow gets magically better, I'll put this book back on the pull list. But as of right now, I am no longer pre-ordering either of these titles moving forward. Alright guys, those are the 2 books that are on the chopping block this week. Let's go ahead and move over to something a lot more positive, which are my cover lever picks. There are some really cool covers coming out this week, and a lot of them I didn't see until yesterday when I made this list for this video. So let's go ahead and dive into these covers, and the first one up is Wonder Woman issue number 7, the cover B variant done by Julian Totino Tedesco. I saw this cover when it was on previews. I shared it when it was on previews. This cover is so freaking good. Tedesco is absolutely crushing all the covers that he's doing right now, and this one is so good. Now next up is one of the covers that I didn't see until I was making this list, and it is Spawn issue number 351, the cover C variant, which is done by Brett Booth and Todd McFarlane. Now what is really cool is that it is a virgin, and it is a cover C. Now, if you order a lot of Spawn books, like I do, which I don't put on my pull list, I just collect them to collect them. I'm not reading any of the series, but I'm collecting all the series, is that they don't do a cover C. And this is a cover C, which is a little different. It's cool, and I like it. Keep doing it. Next up, The Invincible Iron Man issue number 16, the variant cover done by John Jang. Now, John Jang definitely has a very specific style, and his style works so well for Iron Man. This cover is absolutely amazing. Now next up is Justice League vs. Godzilla vs. Kong, issue number 6, with the 1:25 ratio variant done by Daniel Warren Johnson. I am a huge Daniel Warren Johnson fan. I freaking love his artwork. And we have Batman swinging on one of his ropes. And that kind of might even be the lasso of truth because it's yellow. But either way, he's swinging next to Godzilla. That is so cool. My favorite superhero swinging next to Godzilla is such a great cover. Now guys, next up is Batman 89 Echoes, issue number 2, with the cover B variant done by Daniel Warren Johnson. Just an awesome Batcave cover. I am in like bat heaven right now. Daniel Warren Johnson's doing 2 covers in 1 week. Amazing. Now guys, next up is probably my cover pick of the week. It is so good. This is Vengeance of the Moon Knight, issue number 2, with the variant cover, which has the trade dress or the 1:100 ratio variant done by Dyke Ruan. Come on guys. Get on the Dyke Ruan loving train. He is such a great artist, and this cover is so good. He's sitting on the skull of Khonshu. He's got the moon behind him. It's that blackish outfit. So amazing. And the Virgin is like, oh, so good. But yeah, I don't have the money for the Virgin, especially after my weekend in New Hampshire. I am definitely low on comic book funds. I'm down to 0, so gotta wait for that paycheck. All right, guys, next up is Star Wars The High Republic, issue number 5, with the Women's History Month variant done by Betsy Cola. Now, I've been saying Betsy Cola a lot more as of late because she's putting out more covers, and all of them are so freaking good. And this one right here, featuring Ahsoka. I don't even like Star Wars, but I like this cover. Guys, next up is Captain Marvel, issue number 61:25 ratio variant done by Jeff DeCall. So good. So good. This is number 6 of probably a low-ordered run of Captain Marvel, so I'm sure this book is going to be hard to get for a cheap price, because if a lot of copies of a book are being ordered, that means there's going to be a lot more 1:25s, and they usually go for under ratio. But since this is number 6, and probably most likely this is a low ordered book, this is going to be expensive. Probably going to be around like the $35, $50 range, and I am not spending that on this cover, but if I see it for cheap and I have the money, I'll probably pick it up. Guys, next up is Dawn Runner, issue number 1, the cover F variant, which is the 1:10 ratio variant done by Tula Latte. Gorgeous cover for a new number 1 that I'm really pumped for. It's written by Ron V. Great freaking cover. But there's another cover that I really like for this book. It is Dawn Runner, issue number 1, the cover C variant done by Dyke Ruan. Just really take a look at his line work on this cover. It is so gorgeous. I absolutely love his artwork, and this is so good. But guys, another number 1 that I'm pretty excited about is Man's Best, issue number 1, with the cover G variant, which is the unlockable variant, which looks a lot like the cover A, but it's not, because you get a little hint to what's the animals are going to run into in the book, done by Jesse Lonergan. And it's so cool. So cool. I would definitely like to get my hands on this one. But guys, the last cover that I want to share with you guys that I'm really excited about is Vampirella, issue number 667. The cover L, which is the 1:25 ratio variant done by Carla Cohen. It definitely screams Carla Cohen. She has a very particular style, and it has a Carla Cohen face. But it is gorgeous. And this is just really good. And I would love to have this in my collection. But guys, those are my cover lover picks for this week. If I missed a cover that you guys really like, make sure you guys are leaving a comment down below, and that could be your entry into this week's giveaway. You just gotta leave the hashtag #ILoveComicBooks with that comment. Alright guys, let's go ahead and move over to the next section, which are the new number 1s that I think you guys have to be excited about. Guys, before we get into that new number 1, I just want to remind you to please be smashing that like button. It helps the channel out so much. So do me a favor, smash the like button, and let's check out those new number 1s. Alright guys, like I mentioned in my pull list, there are 2 new number 1s on my pull list, and I'm excited for both, so I'm going to go ahead and read the synopsis for both, because I think you guys have to be excited for these as well. First up is Dawn Runner, issue number 1. Now this is coming from the writer of Ron V and has art by Evan Cagle, and this sounds so good. And don't forget those amazing covers, but I'll show the rest right after the synopsis. A century ago, a portal opened over Central America in the Tetza that came through changed our world. Now, the world bends all its effort to making the Iron King great mechs that must battle the Tetsa for humanity's continued survival and gladiatorial combat. Anita Marr is the greatest of the pilots and is chosen to pilot a new prototype that could change the tide in humanity's favor. An all-ages sci-fi epic from rising stars Ram V and Evan Kagel. Mechs, sci-fi creatures battling in like the gladiator ring. Let's freaking go. The only thing that I'm a little confused about is why is it like gladiatorial combat? What is it? I guess maybe I'm thinking of like maybe they're in a big arena and there's people cheering. Hopefully that's not it. Hopefully it's just big mechs fighting each other, or mechs and aliens fighting each other. But either way, I'm freaking pumped. There are some other covers that I have not shown you. There is the cover B, which is decent. There is a Virgin unlockable variant, which is okay. And the 1 in 25 is just a black and white variant of the cover A. So I would really go after the cover C, which is the Dyke Ruan, or the cover F, which is the 1 in 10 ratio variant. But guys, let's go ahead and move right over to the next book. That is Man's Best, issue number 1, from the writer of Pornsak Pachotti, and has art by Jesse Larnigan. I also love the fact that the writer's first name starts with porn. That's both funny and amazing. But let's go ahead and dive into the synopsis. Homeward bound on an alien world, Man's Best follows 3 emotional support pets living on the starship Horizon, a spacecraft searching for a new home to house a humanity comprised by bad decisions and corporate greed. But after the ship crashes and the crew is captured, these loyal pets are their owner's only hope. Outfitted with outrageous tech, which is like the coolest part. These 3 best friends must traverse a hostile world to rescue their owners, leaving them the only hope for humanity that might not be worth saving. In a harrowing adventure, the pets are faced with challenges that threaten to destroy their most valuable treasure, their friendship. I don't know, there's something about the fact that these 3 pets have like these mech suits that make them awesome, and they have to save their owners, but their owners are like corporate greed, bad people, is a great dichotomy that I cannot wait to read. And Jesse Larnigan's artwork is actually really good. I'm just like excited for this series. Now there are some pretty cool variants for this. I really like the cover C. It has like a very cartoonish feel. There is a Jay Lee cover, which is really cool. A Dustin Gwinn cover that's pretty good. And yeah, overall, this is just a really cool sounding series. I haven't read the first issue just yet, so I have no idea. So I have no idea if it's good or not. But guys, those are the 2 number 1s that I'm really excited about. If after hearing the synopsis for either of those, you are now adding it to your pull list, guys, let me know down in the comments below. And again, that can be your entry into this week's giveaway. All right, guys, let's go ahead and find out what the top 3 books that I think you guys have to be reading this week, because the stories are the best coming out this week. Alright guys, sitting in the number 3 spot is a DC book, and it is really good, and it's definitely better as each issue comes out, and I'm talking about Superman issue number 12. Comes out this week. I read issue number 11 yesterday, and it is such a good story. Now this is coming from the writer of Joshua Williamson, and has art by David Baldeon. If I'm pronouncing that correctly, guys, let me know down in the comments below, or you guys can also let me know if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. But guys, this story is so good, especially if you've been reading it since issue number 1, and I'll tell you why. Because the way Joshua Williamson is telling the story is that Superman and Lex Luthor are basically forced to work together. And Lex Luthor has said from the beginning that he has turned a new leaf. He is a good guy now. He is, he wants to repent for all of his sins, and he just wants to help Superman. But obviously, he said this before. He said that he's turned a new leaf so many times and over the, Superman's history. And so obviously Superman does not fully believe him. But through 11 issues, he hasn't done Superman wrong. He keeps doing the right thing. And I hope, fingers crossed, this might be who Lex Luthor is going to be in the future, because the amount of sins that Lex Luthor has done that we know about, and they can just continue making these horrible sins come up, and then Superman and Lex Luthor have to deal with it together, is so cool. It is such an interesting story. But also, they brought Lex Luthor's daughter into this, which I didn't know he had a daughter, but they also let us know that Lex Luthor basically gave his daughter away to Brainiac. just was just like, you take her. And then Brainiac did like lots of like, you know, obviously bad things to her. And now she's back and she has like the Brainiac things on her forehead. And she's actually a pretty interesting character and they can do a lot with her. There are just a lot of cool things outside of Superman because I'm not a huge fan of Superman. I think Superman as a character himself is kind of lame because he can do everything and anything. And he's constantly like all powerful. But when you add in all these other little elements to this story, it makes it so good. The villains in this are so good. I forgot both their names. It's like Graft and something else. But they're like these scientists that have made like this synthetic forms of kryptonite, like all the different covers, and they're using them to battle Superman. It is really good. It is such a good story. The artwork has been so great. We had Jamal Campbell on like the first 6 issues, and now we have David Baldeon on these other issues. It's just great artwork, great storytelling, amazing overall story. And that's the best part about this book. It's just like both arcs so far have been freaking fantastic, cohesive, and just building upon this one thing. And it's awesome. It's such a great book. Now, the covers for this, the variants are not good. I don't like any of them. I definitely just picked up the cover A for this. The cover B, done by Bermejo, is fine. There is a Clayton Henry, which is the cover C, which is not good. The 1 in 25 is pretty terrible. And then there's a cover D done by Jurgens, I want to say. None of those are good in my opinion. But the story itself is worth picking up. Be picking it up for the guts. Not the covers, the guts. All right, guys, that is the number 3 book. Let's go ahead and find out what my number 2 is. All right, guys, in the number 2 spot is another DC book, and it is Wonder Woman issue number 7. Now, this is coming from the writer of Tom King, but the artist that's going to be in issue number 7 is actually Gilliam March, and not Daniel Sampere. He's the main artist on this book, but issue 7 is going to be a little different from the normal, like, you know, story arc. It's a little one-shot that they're sliding in here. I'm sure to give Daniel Sampere some time to catch up on the art for issues number 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But the reason why you guys should be excited for this series, not specifically issue number 7, is because the same reasons as Superman. Tom King is telling this amazing story. He's bringing up this new group of villains that is like deeply rooted in America, where they think women are basically terrible and that men should be ruling and they should be like, you know, without masculinity and without the power of man, there shouldn't be like, you know, no one in power, especially a woman. And it's definitely a really cool story because you know what? Women are just as good as men, and Wonder Woman is freaking amazing. And Tom King is reminding us why Wonder Woman is so freaking amazing. Because everything this villainous group is throwing at Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman is handling like a champ. But there's also all these side stories that, like, you know, remind you, they go back in history and remind you how strong and how much, like, training and how much amazing and how amazing Wonder Woman is. And it's so good. Like, this is the first and only good Wonder Woman story I have read. I've only read a few in the past, even though the one by Daniel Warren Johnson, Wonder Woman Dead Earth, was so good. That was like, you know, Elseworld tale. But a current ongoing Wonder Woman story, this is like by far the best. Like, I love showcasing Wonder Woman's powers and her empathy and everything about her. It's just fantastic. She is just such a cool character, and this is highlighting it, and you guys should be checking it out. But issue number 7, why you guys might want to pick this up, because like it is its own little side story, is that it has art by Gilliam March, which he's a great artist, but is a story about Wonder Woman and Superman going to find a birthday present for Bruce. How cool is that? That is so cool. And again, I've been telling you guys, well, like during cover lover picks, I like when superheroes do like normal things, like they're drinking a coffee, eating a sandwich, doing stuff like that on covers. And I just like the idea that Superman and Wonder Woman, Clark and Diana are gonna like just do something normal, like buy a birthday gift for a friend. So cool. So cool. All right, guys, the variant cards for this, there are some really, really good ones. There's the cover B, Tedesco, which is hands down the best in my opinion. The Gilliam March is okay. You got Superman and Wonder Woman flying above the Earth, I guess. They have to go off Earth to get Bruce a gift. There is a Sozomaika Women's History Month variant, which I personally don't like. I don't like her face. The rest of it is great, but the face to me is a little, I don't like it. The other 2 covers are just bad. I normally try to be really positive, but I really just don't like these 2 covers. But guys, yeah, that is the number 2 book, Wonder Woman, issue number 7. Make sure you guys are checking out this Tom King run. It is so, so good, and the Tedesco covers have been like crazy good. All right, guys, let's go ahead and find out what my number 1 book that I think you guys have to be reading this book, and it's not a DC book. When a comic book can take a group of outcasts, bring them together naturally, and form a bond between all the characters and make you believe it, it is like one of the best things. It is so good, and Jed MacKay has done that in Vengeance of the Moon Knight, or I should say Moon Knight, because that's what happened. He brought that whole family together. Mark Spector, the Moon Knight, brought this family into the Midnight Mission, and it was seamless. It was natural. You believed all these characters would follow him. And then at the end of issue number 30, he died. I know, spoiler, I'm ruining so much for you. I'm not. It's still so good. And Vengeance of the Moon Knight, issue number 3, comes out this week. Written by Jed MacKay, art by Alessandro Cappuccio. They were the creative team on the whole Moon Knight run. They're the creative team on this. And guys, it is a must read. Must read. Issue number 2 was fantastic. In issue number 1, we are introduced to this new Moon Knight. We don't know who it is. He's very brutal, and he wanted to take the Midnight Mission back. He was like, this is mine, and his family stood in his place and was like, no, it is ours. You are not Mark Spector. Get the frick out. And even the Midnight Mission was like, get out, buddy. It was so good. But there's so much more, because there are little sit-downs between the psychologist and each members of the Moon Knight family, and they discuss, like, you know, the loss of Mark Spector, how they're dealing with it. But then we go back to the action scenes where they're dealing with this new Moon Knight. Jed MacKay, man, this series is so good. I know I'm not loving his Avengers run, but this right here is like one of the best. Doctor Strange is so good, but this Moon Knight is like his jam. He is doing an amazing job. And Alessandro Cappuccio, I'm totally butchering it, Alessandro. I'm so sorry. But your artwork is fantastic. Moon Knight would not be Moon Knight without your artwork. And this is so great. And I cannot wait to read more. I cannot wait to see how this family is dealing with the loss of Mark Spector. I cannot wait to be, you know, the mask revealed of this new Moon Knight. There is so much good stuff. And guys, the covers for issue number 3 are insane. You got the Dyke Ruan trade dress. You have this awesome 1 in 25. I don't know who the artist is. I didn't write it down. It is so good though. And that 1 in 100 version of the Dyke Ruan cover is like so good. But then just the cover A is amazing. Moon Knight, or Vengeance of the Moon Knight. Pick it up. Issue number 3 this week. Get the Dyke Ruan. Get the cover A. If you got the cheddar to get the 1 in 25 and the 1 in 100, pick them all up. Worth it. Add them to your collection. If you haven't read this yet, pick up the trades of that first arc and dive into this. It is well worth your money. All right, guys, that is the number 1 book. I hope I haven't prattled on too long, because, guys, there's still the not top 3 in the books you got to see, and let's go ahead and dive into that right now. If you guys have never heard the Not Top 3 yet, these are books that are on my pull list that I'm really enjoying, and I just want to give you guys a little nugget, a little tidbit of information on why you guys should consider picking these up as quickly as possible. I want to get through like 14 books as fast as possible. And guys, first up is Batman Superman World's Finest, issue number 25. Mark Waid, Dan Mora. You really don't need to read more. It's been a while since I read issue number 24. There was the annual between that, and guys, I just don't read annuals. I looked at the cover and there were so many different creators on it, and I was like, I don't want to deal with that right now. So I skipped that. But guys, this story has been really fun, and now we're jumping into what looks like to be Joker and Lex Luthor, some kind of story with all those. It's just Mark Waid. He's doing such a great job with this book. Now guys, next up is Blade, issue number 9. I'm sticking with this because I want to see what's going to happen with this big villain that Blade released in like the first issue of this run. The story has been very hot and cold, hot and cold, hot and cold, and I hope that Marvel can like make this hot all the time, kind of like Moon Knight. Blade is such an amazing character, and in this, he's just okay. Just okay. Marvel, do better. Next up, The Bloody Dozen, A Tale of the Shrouded College, issue number 4. Charles Soule telling a really fun story about these 3 people whose lives were kind of like down and out, but then the Shrouded College is like basically a bunch of magicians, and they can give people powers basically, and they made these 3 people young again and like clean, because like one was alcoholic, one was like a drug addict, and they sent them off into space because one person was an astronaut and the other person wanted to be an astronaut, but then she became a drug addict, and basically they're tasked with going to this prison that's orbiting the sun to retrieve these vampires that have been orbiting the suns for a very long time and bring them back. There's a lot more to the story, but it is so good. Next up, Bone Orchard Mythos Tenement issue number 10. This does say the end on the cover. Maybe this is the last issue, but this has been a very creepy, great story from Jeff Lemire. I haven't loved every single issue, but it's such a great tale altogether. This would read so fantastically in a giant trade, but collecting it month to month wasn't the best, but I'm a floppy copy guy, so that's how I collect all my books. Next up, Cobra Commander issue number 3. I almost put up 2, 3. Fantastic book. Such a great book. Almost cracked the top 3 list this week, but I just like the other stories a little bit better. We're only 3 issues into this, but I am like all in. This is such a great villain story. Sadly, I believe this is only going to be like a 6-issue mini. I wish this was going to be an ongoing because the character of Cobra Commander is really good. Next up, Green Lantern War Journal issue number 7. I believe we're getting to the end of the run. I don't believe this is an ongoing series. I should probably check, and I'll put it up on screen right here. But Philip Kennedy Johnson on John Stewart. It's been good. Not great, just good. But some covers have been fantastic in the story overall. I just really like John Stewart, so I want to make sure I support this book. Next up, If You Find This, I'm Already Dead, issue number 2. This is a prestige format book from Dark Horse Comics. It was kind of fun. This is like kind of set in the future. We're able to open portals and go to a different reality. And we've secured a foothold on this other reality. And this reporter goes in. She's the first reporter ever to go in, and obviously it goes to poop. And she has to like run away, and she's stranded on like this alien planet or different reality. And we're gonna follow her journey on this planet. And it's decent. It was pretty good. Next up, Justice Society issue number 9. This is Jeff Johns, but this book has been definitely hot and cold. It's been delayed a lot. There's a lot of cool characters in the Justice Society, and Jeff Johns is normally so good at writing. If you read any of his Geiger stuff, you're like, whoa, man, this book has got to be amazing. This is only okay. Very close to being chopped. I hate the delays. It just like breaks up the story so much. You're like, wait, what was this story? And I don't know. I like when stories stay on time, and even if they're only decent, it makes it better if you don't have these giant breaks, and we've had pretty big breaks with Justice Society. Next up, Lotus Land issue number 9. One of my favorite writers, Darcy Van Polgeest. It's a really fun story about set off way into the future, and humanity has like found ways to stay alive like longer than we should, but also have like robot children basically. And there's a great like murder mystery going on, and there's a lot more to it. And the end of issue number 4 was like heartbreaking, like tearing up. It was really good. All right, guys, next up is Nightwing issue number 112. This story has been so good for so long. Tom Taylor picked it up around 86. We're now on 112, but I feel like the story arc went like this. Hot, 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 and we're like, oh, cold. And it's just like slowly getting worse and worse as we keep going. That whole story about on the ship and pirates, and it was really weird. I hope we're finally coming back and we're going to get back to our normal Bloodhaven roots, but we'll see. Next up, Once Upon a Time at the End of the World, issue number 13, Jason Aaron, and this story is really good. It's crazy. We started with these two characters that were really young. They're on this decimated planet, and they're just like fighting for survival, but they're two totally different characters. One's like a ranger, and she's hardcore, and this other kid is just like stuck in his own stuck in a building. He never left it his whole life, and then she takes him out, and he follows her, and he's obviously a bumbling idiot, but they fall in love. But then we jump to like different times in their life, and it's just so good. And now we're at the end. They're old and grizzled. It's great. It's so freaking good. Next up, Something Epic, issue number 8, Zyman Kordensky. Such a good story. It's about this boy who his imagination basically comes to life around him. He can read things, and like his characters will come to life. He can draw things. Those things will come to life. He has the power to create, basically. The whole first story arc was issues number 1 through 7. And it was him like dealing with the loss of his mother, and him trying to like push his creativity down and lock that part of him away, because no one was there for him after his mother died, and he was struggling so hard. But then at the end of issue number 7, he finally he's like, oh, I am this person. I can create things. I was meant to do this. It was really good. In this next story arc, I honestly don't know where we're gonna go, but he is like all powered up and ready to go, and I cannot wait to see where this is going to go. And it's Simon Kredinsky. His artwork is freaking fantastic. Now guys, next up is Titans issue number 9. I already told you, I'm not really enjoying the story. I really don't care. Beast War was freaking terrible. Yeah, not for me, and that is it. That is it. We're going to end on a kind of low note with Titans, but guys, that is everything for this video. So much. I'm sure some of you guys are like, Bruce, stop talking. Let's get to the giveaway. Tell me about New Hampshire. We're going to do that right now because we're going to go ahead and wrap this video up. Alright guys, we are at the end of today's video. I got my YouTube page up and ready to go to find out who won last week's giveaway. But before we do that, I just gotta thank every single one of you who watched from the beginning. I know these videos are long, and all the way to this part in the video, and let you guys know you guys are legends. Thank you guys so much. Now, quick reminder, smash the like button. Now, one more thing before we find out who won. Guys, if you guys watch this video and you guys are not subscribed, but you guys enjoy comic book content, I just gotta say, what are you doing? Get yourself subscribed, hit that bell for notifications, and smash that like button. Alright guys, let's go ahead and cut up close and find out who won last week's giveaway. Alright guys, you know how we do this. We go to last week's video, and then we're going to go ahead and pause it, and then we're going to copy the URL, and then we're going to go over here, and then we're going to paste the URL, and then we're going to hit fetch. And not anything goes, no, we're going to hit keyword filter. And that keyword filter is always hashtag I love comic books. And then we're going to continue. We're going to see how many of you left a comment. And there were 62 of you who left a comment with the hashtag I love comic books. Now let's go ahead and find out who won last week's giveaway in 3, 2, 1. And it was Larry Sanders 2477. Congratulations, Larry Sanders. Congratulations, Larry Sanders! Now, what I need you to do is to go over to Instagram, slide into our DMs, our handle is right here, and give us your address, and I will get your book shipped out to you, hopefully this week, because I picked up a lot of books in New Hampshire for giveaways. I also have my trip to my sister's house up in Saratoga that I picked up a lot of books, so I know I have 3 giveaways to ship out. I have Larry's and 2 others, and I will get those out this week at the latest by this Friday, which would be the 22nd, I believe. So guys, congratulations. And if you guys want to enter next week's giveaway, you got to do these 4 things. You need to be subscribed to the channel. You need to leave a comment on the video. You need to leave the hashtag I love comic books, and you need to like the video. That is it. That's all you got to do to get an entry into next week's giveaway. And yeah, I have a lot of books to give away. And now I can tell you guys about New Hampshire. It was awesome. It was so freaking good. Why? When you go to somewhere new, do comic books seem to do things so much better than your local comic book shops? Which I know it's not that for everyone. I know some of you guys have amazing comic book shops, but I went to 6 different comic book shops, and every single one of them were better than the ones I have here on Long Island, which are within, I would say, a 2-hour driving distance. Well, no, let's say an hour and a half, because there's one in New Jersey, which is not on Long Island, which is really good, called Zap Comics. But all these shops, I was able to pick up, like, you know, really cool, like, covers. I got, like, 2 bangers. Like, one Mike Del Mundo Deadpool Spider-Man cover, which I'll show off in the haul video, which I'll do for New Hampshire, which was so good. I also got a Scotty Young Deadpool, which was so good. So many good books. 6 shops where I spent, like, at least 20 bucks at every single shop. More like 40 or 50, which was, I blew through so much money. Yeah, if you guys ever get a chance to go to New Hampshire, especially the southern, eastern part of it, there are so many good shops. I'm listing them all up on screen right now, so in case you guys want to check out any of these shops. The one in Newington, New Hampshire, which, I forgot the name of it. I have it all written down over here. Is so good. They had like so many boxes of variant covers, and my friend Josh and I spent like 20 minutes going through all of them. Were like Jenny Frison and Scotty Young, and I couldn't find an Adam Hughes. I'm sure they sell out before they even have a chance to put them in a box like that. But just, I love the way they were organized. I loved the selection, the prices, everything was fantastic about that shop. Such a great time. Go to New Hampshire. Go to the comic book shops because it's worth your time. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. One last request. If you guys haven't hit that like button yet, just do me a favor and smash that like button. Alright guys, I will catch you guys on Thursday with my final order cutoff. speculation and recommendations video, and I'm also going to have my previews highlights video at the latest by Friday, but hopefully tomorrow on Wednesday. All right, guys, have yourself a great week and a great new comic day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.